everybody, welcome to our arts lesson for today. I'm back in the cozy corner because I'm going to start our arts lesson with a story today. Now this story is all about a man called Tom Crean. Can you say that name? Tom Crean. And Tom Crean is a very special man because he is a sailor. Who knows what a sailor is? That's right, it's somebody who goes sailing in a ship on the water or on the ocean or in the sea. And the reason we're talking about Tom Crean is because he was a special sailor that went all the way to Antarctica. That's where we're studying for our project this month, okay? So I'm going to read you this story and it's going to be all for our arts lesson. And it says, the story in this book is really true. It actually happened on a voyage to Antarctica in 1910, which is about 111 years ago. The ship was called the Terra Nova. The captain was Mr. Robert Scott, and Tom Crean, the sailor, was a member of the crew. Okay. Tom the sailor picked up Little Rabbit carefully in his big hands. He wrapped her in an old woolly jumper. "You need a nest, Little Rabbit," said Tom. "Somewhere on the ship there is just the right place, warm and quiet and cozy. Let's go and find it." Tom the sailor looked at the black cat with one white whisker. The ship's cat was tucked up in a warm, cozy place. He lay in his own little hammock, just like the sailors' hammocks, with his own little pillow and blanket. "This hammock is full of black cat," said Tom. "There is no room for you here, Little Rabbit." Tom the sailor looked up at the skylight where the ship's parrot was swinging on her perch. "Hello, Polly," said Tom. "Hello, Polly," said the parrot. "You can't live on a perch, Little Rabbit," said Tom, and he gave the parrot a piece of string to try and unravel. Carefully, Tom the sailor climbed down the ladder into the ship's hold, where there were boxes and sacks and barrels in stacks and heaps. It was very cold. Tom peered around and shivered. "It's much too cold and dark down here for you, Little Rabbit," he said, and he climbed back up quickly again. Tom the sailor looked into the big cabin. Everyone was busy hanging up paper lanterns, paper chains and flags. "Come and help us put up the decorations," they called. "Come on, Tom." "Not now," said Tom. "I have to find a nest for my little rabbit." Good smells were coming from the gallery. Tom looked around the door. The cook was stirring something in a big saucepan. "What's for dinner?" asked Tom. "Special surprises for a special dinner," said the cook. "You just wait and see." Tom the sailor put on his big warm jacket. He pulled on his woolly hat and woolly gloves. "We're going up on deck, Little Rabbit," said Tom. "Mind now, keep warm." Ooh. Snow was falling gently. The sea was covered in big pieces of ice like white meringue. Icebergs floated slowly by like spiky mountains. Two whales lifted their great backs in a patch of blue-black water, and then they sank below the surface. Fat, silvery seals lay on the ice, yawning and scratching themselves with their flippers. A little group of penguins stood staring at the ship. More penguins scurried across the ice in a long line. One penguin climbed to the top of the ice hill and others pushed him off. High above the deck, up against the sky, a wooden barrel was lashed onto the mast. Pure white birds flew round and round the rigging. "It's no good going up there with you, Little Rabbit," said Tom. "You can't climb and you can't fly." The deck was filled with dogs. Brown dogs, hairy dogs, black and yellow dogs with pointy ears and curly tails. Tom tucked Little Rabbit deep inside his jacket. "Hello, dogs," said Tom, and the dogs barked and yelped and howled. The sailor went forward to the place where the ponies were kept in strong wooden stalls. The ponies were munching on oats. They banged the sides of their stalls with their sharp hooves. The ship is full up, said Tom. It's crammed and crowded. Where can I find you a safe, warm, quiet, cosy place for your nest, little rabbit? Little Rabbit's long, silky ears dropped. I've got it, shouted Tom suddenly. He ran down 8 steps and poked his head into a gap under the deck where the hay for the ponies was stored. The air smelt sweet. Just the place for a nest, said Tom. Carefully, he unwrapped Little Rabbit from the old woolly jumper and put her on the hay. Little Rabbit hopped around and sniffed the hay and lay down. And now, Tom said happily, it's time for my Christmas dinner. Everyone sat down around the table in the big cabin. They ate tomato soup, roast mutton, plum pudding, mince pies. Then they opened little parcels from their families. They pulled crackers and played games and sang songs. They were a very long way from home, but it was a good Christmas party. When it was nearly bedtime, Tom went to see if Little Rabbit was all right. He poked his head into the gap under the deck where the hay was stored. Little Rabbit lay in her warm, cosy nest in the hay, and lying next to her were 17 baby rabbits. That's the best Christmas present ever, said Tom happily. 17 babies! Now I can give a rabbit to each of my friends. Well, nearly. And he stroked Little Rabbit's long, silky ears. Tom looked around at the night. The deck was covered in glittering snow. The world was utterly quiet and still. The sun was a soft golden ball, and the ice glowed white with purple shadows. Happy Christmas, Tom said to the world. The end. Well, I hope you remember that story, because right now we're going to be doing some arts where we're making boats and acting this story out. So, first of all, I'd like you to go and get your plasticine that was in your envelope, okay? And if you have any junk art, you might need junk art a little bit later on, okay? So off you go and get your plasticine and then come back to me. Okay, so when you have your plasticine, you're going to have to get it nice and soft. You're going to have to roll it and squish it and all that kind of stuff. Okay, we're going to try and make a boat out of the plasticine to see can we get it to float. Okay, so I'm going to roll mine into a ball. Then a little bit like when we did with our pinch pot, I'm going to use my thumbs to turn it into kind of like a boat shape. Or you might want to roll it flat. If you've got maybe a rolling pin, or you just want to roll it or stamp it flat, and then see can you turn it into a boat. Now I'm turning mine, it's a little bit like our pinch pot actually. I'm going to see, oh, I put a hole in mine. I'm going to turn, see, can I squish it to get into a boat. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to have to do lots of testing. Plasticine can be turned into a boat, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see will it float. So I have a little bucket of water here. You might want to wait until you're having a bath to do this, okay? And what you can do is turn it into a bit of a boat and then see does it float. I'm going to put mine in. Come and see. Is it going to float? Oh no, it's sunk! So what I need to do is I need to take it out and I need to try again. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my edges a little bit higher, and I'm going to try and make my edges nice and even. Okay, so my edges are going to be higher. I'm going to try and make the edges all the same size. Let's see. No, that one didn't work either. Okay, let's have a look. I'm just going to keep going round and round. Maybe make the bottom a little bit flatter. What happens if I make the bottom a little bit flatter? Maybe, let's see. Can it work? No, gotta keep trying, Oh, that took me lots of tries. I just paused my camera for a minute and I did a longer bottom on it, and I curled the edges up so they're all the same. And guess what? Look. My boat is floating! Woohoo! How fabulous is this? It takes lots of tries. So if you don't get it the first couple of times, That's okay. Or you might want to try lots of times during the week and see if you can make a big boat, a small boat, and then you could get some little peas, frozen peas if you have any, and see, or even some plasticine in little bowls, and see, can you put any passengers in your boat? Now, the other thing that I was thinking that we could do was we could make a junk art boat. You can make any kind of junk art boat you like. I just collected a few things. I got a yogurt carton, and I'm just going to chop off the top of the yogurt carton. You might need help with some of these things, okay? Because they are a little bit scary. Okay, so I'm just going to take the bottom of the yogurt carton. I got a little straw, which I'm going to snip a bit off. And then I got some of my extra blue piece of paper, and I'm actually going to make a flag out of this bit. So I am. Now you can make any kind of a boat that you like. Let me get my glue. Okay. I'm just going to put my glue on. I should be doing this on the table because gluing in hands is not a very good idea. Okay. There we go. There's my flag. And I'm actually going to use some blue tack, well, white tack, for the bottom of it, because I think it'll be easier to stick in my junk art boat. Okay? Okay, let me see if this floats. Aha! Look, it does float. Can you see it? Now I've got two boats. Okay? And what you can do is you can use junk art to make little people, maybe a little rabbit, and then what I want you to do is I want you to use them to act out the story of Tom's little rabbit. So if you make a little rabbit, you can pretend to be going up on the deck, down below the deck, looking out at all the penguins. Try and see, can you use your junk art to make a Tom Crean's rabbit story? And if you can't remember part of the story, just rewind the video, or you could even go back to the start of the video, and while I'm reading the video, you could be moving your rabbit, and you can make a bigger boat than I did. I just made a teeny weeny little boat, look, but you could make a big long boat, and you could wait until you're in the bath, and you could act out Tom Crean's rabbit in the bath. Or if you decide that you know the story well enough that you don't need to listen to me say it, maybe you'll listen to me say it and act it out, but then maybe if you know it well enough without me saying it, you could take a video of the story, of you doing the story with your boats and your junk art, and then you could show us the story of Tom Crean's little rabbit. Wouldn't that be amazing? Okay, have fun making your junk art, have fun with the plasticine, have fun testing it in the sink or in a bucket or in the bath or wherever you test it, and then have fun acting out Tom Crean's rabbit story with your boats. I can't wait to see these stories, okay? Make sure you show me if you're able to act it out. See you later, alligators!